Hello, and welcome to my talk for this week. It's good to have you here. We're reminded this week that we need to remember today, at the 11th hour of the 11th month, we recall that it was then in 1918 that the hostilities in the First World War officially ended. Since then, those who participated and gave their lives in that war and subsequent conflicts have been remembered with gratitude. As the two major wars of the 20th century receded in time, the sharpness of the day became lessened. But with more recent wars, the sacrifices of others have been amplified again. This year, with the coming of COVID-19, many of us have been reminded that as the Great War ended in 1918, the pandemic known as the Spanish flu began to emerge. It was carried across the globe by people returning from the battlefields, and for many communities had a further devastating effect upon the losses and beyond the losses of war. When I was rector of Stone Church, one of the parishioners there was personally affected by the post-war pandemic. She was born in Cross Creek near Stanley in 1918. Before she reached her first birthday, she was orphaned as both her parents died of the flu. She was brought up by family members and thrived, living until a few weeks before her 100th birthday. Nonetheless, the knowledge of what happened back then obviously remained with her for the rest of her life. Remembrance is very important because it tells us where we come from. There are stories from inside our families which are shared memories. They give us our identity. Those tales told at family gatherings, usually by the adults with the children listening. They help us to know we belong. And as the children grow, they will tell the stories to their children, and they will be added to from generation to generation. Some will be lost, and some will survive. There are also natural stories, such as those of wars or important events like Expo. There are those things seared into the memory, like 9/11. All of these play a role in shaping who we are. The Bible reminds us of the need to share stories of the way God has dealt with his people since creation. The Jewish festivals remind us and them of the faithfulness of God even in apparently terrible circumstances. They're to be repeated annually. For Christians, we too have festivals, Christmas, Easter, and Pentecost, to name but three, to anchor us in the story of God's grace in and through Christ. Today, we remember those who have served and been lost in wars. We also need to recall the importance of memory in knowing who we are in the story of God and his love for all in all times. Once again, I trust that you are doing well. I hope to see you again next week. But for now, God bless and stay safe.